Newsmax came out earlier this week to oppose the mega merger of two big ad agencies in America, Omnicom and IPG. Surprisingly, the FTC under President Trump gave approval for this merger, even though these ad agencies are highly politicized to the left and a direct threat to funding for conservative voices. To discuss this further, let's bring in our pal, host of The Wise Guys and Newsmax contributor, John Tabacco. John, great to have you here. These groups were the biggest backers of the diversity, inclusion, equity agenda, Marxist agenda initiatives before this proposed merger, targeting all of we conservatives during the Biden regime. Tell the folks what they did to conservatives and why it matters to this audience.
You know, on Wise Guys and on Newsmax, I've been tracking this for a while, and NewsGuard has been a tough nut to crack. But what happened here is the agencies used these third-party ratings agencies, groups like NewsGuard and GDI, and these are, of course, left-wing organizations, and they supposedly rate news outlets for accuracy, reliability, for misinformation. NewsGuard, in particular, was used, and of course, they were run by a Democratic operative named Steve Brill, and he makes no bones about the fact that he's a political operator, also an advocate for the Democratic Party, so no surprise there. But 3 studies by the Media Research Center found that conservative media got low ratings, and liberal media, including, get this, the Communist Party of China news outlet, got high ratings. And it appears that, like, the New York Times can get the story about Hunter Biden's laptop wrong, push the Russia hoax falsely, accuse Israel of bombing hospitals in Gaza, and they get 100% rating, or just nearly 100%. And it makes no sense, Chris, unless this was political, and it was used by the ad agencies and these rating services to basically find another way to destroy conservative media. They demonetize them, they defund them, and therefore censor them. And Newsmax, as you know, we've been affected, but I think all the major conservative media have been affected by these, you know, targeted woke ratings agencies, and confused.
And I'm confused. I'm perplexed why the Federal Trade Commission under the Trump administration didn't act on this.
Yeah, well, I think this all started in December of 2024, but recently they agreed on the merger with no conditions. They did agree to a consent order of the ad agencies, and the ad agencies both said, "Oh, we'll agree not to engage in, you know, ideological boycotts or use so-called exclusion lists. That's fine." But it says nothing at all in the order about stopping these agencies from using these third-party rating services like NewsGuard to block media like Newsmax and other conservative companies. So we need more, Chris.
Yeah, just so you folks know at home, NewsGuard, these people are leftists, and they're biased, and they basically say lies are truth and truth are lies, and that's NewsGuard. Who runs at this point, John, the Federal Trade Commission? I didn't even look this up before this came onto the show, so tell me who this guy is.
All right, well, yeah, I've been hound dogging this story because, you know, I do a lot on the markets, Chris, and I hate anti-competitive behavior, and this is the hilt of it, and it affects us and many others. The guy who runs it, his name is Andrew Ferguson. He's a former top aide to Mitch McConnell. But Trump did appoint him. So, you know, the Mitch angle gives me reason to pause even more.
You think? Is anyone in the Trump administration aware as what they're actually greenlighting, what could happen if voices that are some of the strongest in support of this administration are silenced by this merger?
Yeah, well, look, they've pointed out in the past that the Trump administration's own executive orders say that they must stop action that supports DEI programs, but the FTC allowing this merger to go through, and there's no mention of anything about that. And Chris, if you compare that with the recent approval of the Paramount-CBS merger, the FCC actually made it conditional that they had to ban all DEI programs. So to me, this stinks at all levels. Hopefully the FCC and the FTC will screw their heads on straight and not let these third-party hooligans censor conservative news.
Yeah, we conservatives, sometimes we're our own worst enemies. When do we fight is when I ask. John Tabacco, thank you. We'll continue to monitor the story. Very, very important, especially, folks, if you want to get something other than leftist news out there or leftist propaganda. You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.